There is nothing wrong with your internet. Do not attempt to adjust your settings. We are controlling the podcast. We control the squealing and the screams. We can make your heart flutter, your eyes blur from tears, or sharpen your mind to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit back. We are in control of what you hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your settings. You are about to experience the awe and mystery known as the female mind. You are now entering the Fangirl Zone.
Welcome to Sci-Fi Talk on the Fangirl Zone, a podcast where we discuss shows on the Sci-Fi Channel. I'm Steve.
And I'm Sean Fangirl S. And today we'll be discussing episode 6 of season 1 of Resident Alien. I'm feeling better about saying season 1, which
I would think so. Yeah, I would think so. I'm not going to promise it because we know sci-fi too well, but I know one thing.
They're listening and they're going, oh, you like it?
Yeah.
No. Veto. But no. Just remember, always hashtag sci-fi when you're tweeting along.
Yes.
And that helps. Although they're all very active.
Oh, yeah.
Twitter. So it's awesome.
Yeah, Twitter on Wednesday night is always a lot of fun. That's for sure.
So fun. So what did you think of this episode?
Well, little Mr. Green Alien got green-eyed.
Oh my gosh. I thought that was hilarious.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, look at this. Okay. All right. He's going to screw up. I just kept thinking this is where he messes up.
Right. And he came close.
And you know what? All the way to the end, because that last moment that we see,
right? Because
we don't know like what's going to happen next.
True.
I'm thinking maybe he did mess up.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Now,
but
yeah, if he
himself too.
Yeah, if he bent down and grabbed the car and tossed it, then yeah, they would figure out that he's not human.
Right.
So,
but I thought this was pretty funny with some of this stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, some more light being shed on the bigger puzzle.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why I'm trying not to say things right now. It's like, I don't want to spoil it. Because if you haven't watched episode 6 at this point, why are you listening to us?
Exactly.
I mean, we want you to listen, but this is all a spoiler. So Don't listen to us first.
Absolutely. Well, I'll give you something that isn't a spoiler.
Okay.
Episode 5 ratings.
What? We got ratings?
I just happened to go back and take a peek and see how our show was doing. Well, episode 5 ended up being the 10th rated cable show for the day with 1.241 million viewers and a 0.23 in adults 18 to 49. I went, damn, okay, let's go back and see how a couple of previous episodes did. Well, episode 24 was 29th with just over a million viewers, and episode 3 was all the way down to 44 with only 800,000. So it's picking up steam.
Yes. That's because everyone's finally hearing about how awesome Alan Tudyk is in this weird, awkward role.
Absolutely. And speaking of episode 5, we've got some feedback that made it in within minutes of the episode being released, of course. So we're going to let you hear what our friend Jazz thought about the episode.
Hello, this is Jazz with a Season 1, Episode 5 review of Resident Alien. I personally love puns and comedy, so this show is right up my alley. I love the beginning of the episode with the bra trifold, giving directions on how to actually have a date, essentially, and how to get to, I guess, step 3. So it sort of worked for him, and talked about dogs and cats and all the various problems you might have with being a human, all within 3 lovely little trifold pages. I totally thought that the sheriff was an absolute jerk, turd, and quite a few other 4 little words, and is very abusive to Liv, especially breaking her yo-yo and then not even apologizing he did it and then blaming her for it, which is pretty much a narcissist, horrible person. And I really enjoyed having his father break him down a couple of pegs because he totally deserved it. And I might have felt less bad about it if he hadn't been such a jerk about it. So he totally deserved to get knocked down a peg or 40. And so I was thinking, Harry reminds me of Sophia from the Golden Girls who has no filter. I think that's rather accurate. In many ways. He always says things he shouldn't at the wrong time. Oddly enough, he's finally becoming fond of people that he works with, and has a wife, and decided to finally figure out how to make things happen between the two of them, although it was a good thing she sang to him, because that seemed to get him in the mood. Although I doubt that they wore a condom, so maybe they'll have little alien babies later. That could be interesting. And time flies when you're having fun. Jay finding the files, I thought was a well-done plot device of how she found out who her mother was. She should have also seen how young her mother was, probably about her same age now, so she hopefully later will take that into account and not give her quite so much flack for that, because that is definitely a hard thing to do. There was Grandpa, I thought was cool, saying, family don't pay, and she's like, well, in that case, give me 2 burgers and a pie, and actually smiles for the first time in a while. So she doesn't begrudge her grandpa any, evidently. And it takes a lot of chutzpah for the new wife to actually decide to break into her husband's basement, even after noticing that he's been acting weird, but accepts him anyways, even though he's had a total personality shift. I don't think I could do that. And took care and made some steaks, and I guess he was drinking milk all this time. So, aside from eating out at the diner. So everybody hates something, including snoring, so, that's very universal for many spouses and partners. So that makes perfect sense. I guess she can survive another night was rather humorous. I liked that. And she likes him even though he's different, so I appreciate that too. And I thought it was a different twist in order for the kids to come to a truce, since he's probably tried to kill Max 4 times. And it was a very smart way of getting them to come to agreement and both begrudgingly shaking each other's hand. Grr. And then we're able to ask questions like, what's with the, graffiti on the ground and, all the crop circles, and what's with folding pizza? Why do you do that? And so afterwards, he rather no longer hated them and enjoyed having somebody to ask all the weird questions with. So that's growth for both of them. I love the fact that Linda Hamilton is coming into the mix. I think that she's a military general from Area 51, although I don't know if they're allowed to say Area 51 or not. Maybe they'll say close to 50 or something. And it makes perfect sense that you would knock off people, because black ops do that with impunity. And then they make it look like an accident later. Like the truck guy decided to have a car wreck or something and somehow snapped his neck. So that makes perfect sense, although not everybody is in on all the facets of the jobs, which is why the woman cracked the guy's neck and the other guy was going, that wasn't part of our direction. And she's like, well, it's part of mine. So that makes perfect sense from the military. They do all sorts of stuff like that. It could also be that they were the ones who took down all the flyers of Harry and not actually Harry. It could be, hey, we don't want people thinking they're aliens here, because if they think that it's, something we can't begrudgingly put under, crazy people, then we might have to bomb it off the face of the earth like they did for Winona Earp. And quite a few other towns, actually, already in real-life history, but I digress. There's a new doctor in the mood now that Harry has decided that he likes the town, generally. There's a new person coming to town going, hey, I'm the new doctor. And he immediately doesn't like them because he kind of likes his crew now. And it would not surprise me any to have it be the military who decided to stick him in there so that he could make sure that Harry got abducted and things went back to normal for the town. You never know. Could all be very interesting. So hopefully Liv will watch the bully sheriff get hit in the nuts repeatedly again, because he certainly deserves it. The actor, however, is very nice and very funny on Twitter. So I enjoy it very much. I think I'll continue watching. And that's all for Jazz. Thanks.
Oh, thank you, Jazz.
Thanks, Jazz. I have to say that the flyer thing, I don't think they've made it to the town. So
right. Yeah.
I don't think it's them.
Yeah, we don't know. We haven't seen them in town, at least.
True. So them. I don't think it's them. That sounds so ominous, too.
Like killer couple. For right now.
Yeah, pretty much everything you've said. I'm like,
Yes,
there's so much.
absolutely. We couldn't agree more about Sheriff Mike and the way he treats Liv. And I mentioned on the last podcast that I kind of think he's got part of his attitude from his dad because he gets it all the time. So he's got to find somebody to give it back to.
But yeah, him being a narcissist, you totally see it.
Yeah.
Like in everything, because he dismisses anything that he doesn't say.
Right.
Or if he doesn't think you're important enough.
Right.
And it just irks me so much. But I kind of feel like, yeah, he's been kind of bullied at home.
Right.
And you always see that bullies tend to bully, or people who've been bullied tend to bully, like if it's in their life all the time. So maybe that's what it is. And maybe he'll come around, but I don't know. Because you see those little moments where he gets like happy and nice.
Yeah, occasionally.
But I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't be too upset if he got hit with a couple more bowling balls, though.
Yeah. And your call on Sophie from the Golden Girls is absolutely true. Harry has no filter.
It is funny. I didn't even think about that until you said it. It's like, yeah, you just want to see him like, I don't even, instead of Sicily, whatever year. It's like whatever planet he's from, star date, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you just want to see him randomly say it. I love the trifold. It's like it keeps changing every episode, so I think that's hilarious. And I didn't even think, oh God, what could they have? Like alien babies? I'm going to think no.
Right.
But you never know.
Yeah.
That would be messed up because she's already, I don't know about you, but I feel like she's a little wackadoo.
Right.
So that would really put her over the edge. I don't think Isabella can handle it.
No, I don't think she's got the fortitude to do that. Well, I mean, she had the fortitude to break into his basement.
Yeah, wackadoo.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, she just seems a little crazy.
Yeah. And I could sit and watch Alan Tudyk and the kids shoot questions back and forth to each other for hours. That would just be gold.
Oh, yeah. I told you, he's a treasure. I love him.
Yep. And we do agree that Corey is an amazing actor. We don't like his character, but we do like him on Twitter because he is a lot of fun. And we're starting to, Liv's on Twitter now, and she's starting to get a little more active and liking some of our tweets. And so
she's replied to quite a few.
Yeah.
Corey likes them.
Yeah.
Liv will, I'm sorry, I'm saying her real name wrong. Like, I'm forgetting her real name right in a second. I'm sorry. But she replies to our stuff. Alan hasn't yet.
Yeah.
But Resident Alien, their actual page, replies to us a lot too.
Oh yeah, he definitely does.
Yes. So I think it's great. And like we've said with other shows, you have to separate the actor from the role. So Corey, we still like you. We just hate your character right now. And if we ever actually get him on the show, I will tell him that too.
Oh, absolutely. But he gets a little bit in this episode. So, as always, thanks a lot, Jazz. And we're looking forward to hearing from you again. But let's get into episode 6, Sexy Beast. And you see that and you go, oh no. Harry copes with jealousy when the mayor hires an annoyingly perfect new town doctor.
Oh my God, it was so funny just seeing how jealous he was getting all of a sudden. It's like,
yes.
What is this? It was just weird.
Yes, it was. But we open with a lighthouse attendant with a clock fetish and his daughter watching 1960s TV show Lost in Space.
Is that what that was?
Yes. Danger Will Robinson.
Oh, I must have missed it actually saying that. I would have picked it up then.
Yeah.
Probably because I was so taken with all the clocks. I'm like, what's going on with all the clocks?
Exactly. And a lightning strike seems to knock out the TV and all of the clocks suddenly stop working. She gets her father's attention and points to the clocks that have stopped, and he wonders what's going on, and then the power goes out. This is probably not going to be good. He grabs a flashlight for each of them, and they head upstairs to the top of the lighthouse. And as he tries to get the...
But wait, the power didn't just go out. Because that's when weird things happen to the clock.
Right.
Because the pendulum on the clock just being stuck out to the side.
Yes.
I'm looking around going, oh gosh, what are they going to show us? What jump scare are we going to get?
Right. Because, they go up to the front windows and look out, and you figure we're going to see Harry at the door or something. But no.
Yeah, and then we find out they're in a lighthouse because he's like, oh no, we have to get the light back on. Right. I seriously thought he was just putting the flashlight in that big, I don't know what it's called, wherever the big light bulb goes.
Right.
I'm like, I guess it would work if you push it. I don't know. I thought it was weird. What is he going to do?
Right.
But then, no, let's just get weirder, shall we?
Yeah. Because as he's trying to get the beacon working, his daughter tells him the rain has stopped. Okay. Is it in midair or?
I thought it had all frozen.
Right.
I thought, because the sound stopped, I couldn't tell, but I thought it was just freezing.
Right.
Until she said, oh no, it stopped. It's wait a second. That was coming down pretty hard.
Yes.
That would have been a super fast storm. Not that they don't happen, but that would have been weird.
Yes, especially, we don't know exactly where they are. They've got to be somewhere near an ocean, you would imagine, with the lighthouse.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't see many of those in
Colorado
Nebraska.
or New Mexico. Or
yeah.
And he eventually joins her, and they both see an alien ship right on top of their lighthouse.
I love how she's taking a bunch of pictures.
Yes, with her Polaroid.
I don't remember Polaroids having that many. I want to say
in a pack. No,
yeah,
it was 10 at the most.
Because she was just click, 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 and you just kept seeing it kind of fly behind her.
And at first, I thought this might have been a backstory for our killer couple female, but it wasn't. Womp womp.
Yeah, I was starting to think that too, but we do at least get some answers.
Oh, yeah. So we go check in on Harry and Isabella, and Harry's waking up thinking that he was having a dream of being suffocated by her sexual organs and can almost feel her hammy breath on his face.
Oh, she's still there. Okay.
Yeah, because Isabella's laying there just staring at him. She loves watching him sleep as we get Barry Manilow's Can't Smile Without You playing in the background. And you go, oh no.
I just want to say, I'm sorry, but when I said she was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs earlier, this just seemed to make it worse.
Oh, I know.
Because I'm sorry. I don't care if you're a morning person. You really wake up with a huge frickin' smile on your face and you're like, hey. It's ugh. Okay, obviously not a morning person over here.
Right.
So if you really are a morning person and you wake up and you're all Snow White, ready to greet the day, we can't be friends, at least until afternoon. I'm just saying.
And yes, I know, because a few years ago we were doing Doctor Who, and
oh God, it was so early.
Corey in Australia, and we had some 7 a.m. Central Time podcasts. And Sean was not at her best. I think I fell asleep
on him a couple times. Yeah, I stay up really late on the weekends. What do you want?
So we get a shot of them skipping rocks in the lake, or at least Isabella was.
Well, until she screwed her out and threw one at Harry, and then he whipped one at her.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah, because she just kind of tosses it, trying to show him that you throw it sidearm, not overhanded. And he throws his overhand and probably a fastball because she reacted like it hurt. And then we go inside and see them arm wrestle, and Harry wins without breaking her arm, surprisingly. And she leans over to kiss him, and they fall into the floor.
Yeah, again, okay, really? What kind of weird Brady Bunch thing is happening? I mean, come on. You've been married for a while, Steve. I've been married for a while. Even on vacation, when we've got nothing to do and we are not stressed, we don't do this crap.
No.
No.
I guess maybe their relationship hadn't been for years and years when we get the flashback of them meeting. So maybe that they're still, or at least Isabella is still in the playful mood.
Yeah.
Even though she's went through all this, no calls, no emails, no nothing on the divorce. And yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. This is just too, stage 5 clinger here is what I'm feeling.
Right.
It's get out, Harry. Even not real Harry. I can understand him needing out because she is over the top.
Right.
And then the cake.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, you make a cake, slap some frosting frosting on it. That's what I do. My husband's happy. I just make a cake. And she's all like, let me do all of this with this New York skyline and Statue of Liberty and I love New York. But okay,
Yeah.
you're an artist. Go paint.
Right.
I can't with this. This is just, it was so sugar, saccharine, sweet.
Sweet, yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. And of course,
I
while
was not
they're-
mad at Harry with what's coming. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. She asks for some food coloring, and Harry grabs a bottle of alcohol, which Isabella tells him will knock her out. Well, maybe just one glass. And he fills her glass again as she puts the heart on the cake. And then again, sitting by the fire after he dumps his behind the couch.
Yeah, I'm like, where did that garbage can come from? Because that's what it looked like.
Right. And then we see him playing cards, and Isabella's head goes limp and passes out, and Harry taps her just to make sure.
Yeah, that was kind of funny when she's all like, oh, do you want me to pass out and have another, was it art walk like
Yeah.
before? Ha 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 ha. And he's like, ha ha, yes, let's have some alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
And immediately like, this
Yeah.
is a good idea. And yeah, when she passed out, she wasn't kidding.
No.
Like, I've never drank so much that I passed out. So that was pretty impressive how much she passed out.
Right. So this gives Harry the opportunity to get down in his basement and work on his anti-gravitational unit, which needs to have one more piece to complete. And this is where we get the whole sexy beast, because he thinks that men who work on engines are called sexy beasts. And if women could see him flying his ship, he would have to beat them off with a stick.
Oh, I thought I misunderstood what he said then. Because I thought he said they would beat me off with a stick. And I'm like, what have you been watching?
Yeah.
And you did not understand that.
Yeah.
Because I have in my notes, apparently, the wrong phrase. Yeah, because I was like, okay, Harry, no, don't say that in public either, please.
Yes. And then we get a flashback 4 months ago. We have our male half of the killer couple, who happens to be military, reporting that fighter pilots over the Strait of Hormuz engaged an unidentified aircraft, and then it vanished. And he tells the group of bigwigs around the table that he picked up the same signature seconds later over Colorado, and the only explanation is teleportation. Then it dropped in altitude and crashed in New Mexico. So I'm thinking, okay, that must mean that Patience, Colorado is right there on the border of Colorado and New Mexico.
I was wondering, and I was like, can I pull up the map and look? Because I was really starting to wonder why it's like, oh, we're back and forth. And
right. Yeah. They've got to be
close?
really that close. Yeah. Southern Colorado borders up against New Mexico, having lived in northwestern New Mexico for a time. And Linda Hamilton, otherwise known as General McAllister, informs him that two things give her pause: teleportation and little green men.
Yeah, I love it when she says that. And the guy's like, I didn't say little green man.
Man, yeah.
But didn't you? She, no.
And then she goes to just scaring the pee out of him by asking him if the pressure of his position is starting to choke him as she gets closer and closer.
I had a very Doctor Who moment. Doesn't he look tired? It's like,
Yes.
whoa.
And yeah, once she gets right up on him, he goes, well, at this moment, yeah. And so she mentions, well, maybe you need to take a medical leave to get rid of some of your stress. And the next thing we know, he's walking to a car with a box of stuff. That's not good.
No. And that shell-shocked look on his face, like, what just happened?
Yeah. And he puts the box in the trunk, gets in the car, and here's the general tell him he was right as she's sitting in the back seat. Just freaks him out.
Yeah, but it's like, what the hell?
Exactly.
Then what was that all about? And basically, I'm like, what?
And she basically tells him that, yes, that was an alien ship. ship, but if the crash evidence goes up the chain of command, it'll be swallowed up into a classified black hole. And she's not going to let that happen. And
Didn't she say again?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I thought that was pretty interesting.
On the nose.
Yeah. It's like, oh, were you working with Area 51 or something?
Right. Well, seeing that we find, well, we'll get to it with it, and that'll give us a little more explanation. Now, and oh, by the way, he gets to find the ship as this one is off the books. Which he gets all excited. And then she tells him he can't tell anyone as he shows a picture of him and his girlfriend.
Oh my God. And what's the first thing he says? Oh, don't worry. She won't say anything. That's just my girlfriend. What is wrong with you?
Yeah. Do you not know anything?
Obviously, you don't understand what a classified mission is.
Right. And he gets shocked again by a knock on the window, and it's his new partner informing him that he just broke up with his girlfriend via text, and it's kind of rude.
That was not right.
No. He wonders how she got her number, and the general introduces her as Lisa Casper, his wife, and tells him that the two of them are going to get her a ship.
Yeah. It's like, wait, his wife?
Yeah.
Why did they have to be married for this? They could have just been like dating.
Right.
You know, I'm like, this poor man is going to end up dead. That's all I kept thinking.
That's a very strong possibility. So we go to the clinic as Harry walks in the break room and starts to pour a cup of coffee, but doesn't realize it's still perking, so it just keeps running down, which causes Harry to panic and call for help. Of course, Asta comes in and Harry tells her it's leaking, and she goes, no, it was making coffee.
It's like, put the pot back there. He puts the coffee cup, although people do that a lot when they want a fresh cup, but still.
And Harry informs her that she should have Jay clean it up, and she tells him that they won't be seeing her anytime soon.
It's like, oh, right.
Yeah. Harry mentions the lying about birthing her, which she agrees, but would like to talk to her, but is giving her space. And then Sheriff Mike and Liv come in, and we get Mike moaning and groaning about how their break room is so much smaller. Liv tells him, well, it'd sure be a damn long walk to get coffee.
Right. We should trade. It's like, what? What is wrong with you? You're so weird.
Yes.
And then I love the whole coffee thing that goes back and forth.
Yeah, Harry mentions their coffee maker leak. And then Liv mentions wanting an espresso, but Mike calls it the devil's work as it's only one cup.
How do you fit so much coffee in that one little pot? It's just not right. It's like, and I'm sitting there looking at my Keurig going,
Yeah, it works.
I only get the coffee stuff for people who come over. I don't drink coffee. I'd rather have tea and hot chocolate. So,
of course, Asta asks them what they're doing there, and Mike informs them that the toxicology report proves Sam was poisoned by botulism toxin.
Oh, my God. And this is just funny. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And wants to know what Harry knows about it. Harry tells him
the explanation. Yeah. Harry, you sound like a kid who didn't do the required reading for the report.
Yeah, because he just tells him people die from botulism toxin.
And he kept saying it like it kept getting worse and worse. It's like me talking, trying to say it.
Yeah.
Botulism toxin is dangerous and you can be killed by botulism toxin being injected. And I'm like, okay, so yeah, you
Mike
get it.
Wants him to dig into it more. And Ben comes in and informs Harry that he's off the hook as the new doctor is here. Yippee!
And on one hand, I'm thinking, okay, this will help, right? But on the other hand, I'm like,
yeah.
I feel like things are not going to go right.
No. So, of course, Ben invites them to come meet him. And after Mike and Liv leave, one of the nurses comes in and says, it'd sure be nice to have something to look at for once.
Harry's like, what? What are you talking about? I am handsome. And once it and even ravishing. Like, oh, no. What? Yeah, but I mean, how do you say it? What's the modern term? Even ravishing? It's like, oh, that's not a modern term, dear.
No.
No. What have you been watching? Because I don't think they said that on Law and Order. Just saying.
No, I don't think so either. So Ben introduces them to the very accomplished Dr. Ethan Stone. Then he introduces Asta, Mike, and Liv to the doctor, who makes Mike happy by calling him Big Black. Harry speaks up, and Ben introduces Harry to Ethan, who tells Harry he heard great things about him. So Harry goes, "What? Who? Huh? Who told you what?" And then Ethan admits he was just being polite.
And I'm like, oh, so close, Harry. Because I think Harry got nervous.
Oh, yeah.
But then when you see Mike all happy, oh, he called me Big Black. And I'm like, no. I love it. Everyone's like shaking their head like, no, don't do that. Nobody calls him that.
Really? So Mike asks Ethan about botulism toxin poisoning and is told it's nasty stuff and comes up with the same conclusion that Harry did. That, yeah, he was poisoned and he was trying to give himself a tracheotomy. Did Harry get credit for that? No. Ben mentions the burnt coffee smell and Ethan offers to take a look, but Harry tells him he's already fixed it.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you can already see it. Like, it's not sitting well with Harry. And to be honest, with the new doctor, I wasn't feeling him either because I'm like, oh, he seems really
full of himself.
Over the top.
Yeah, very much so.
And it's like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, Mike has to say, well, now that we have a man of science, they should be able to wrap it up quickly. And Harry...
I was kind of pissed with that. Come on.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like, listen, you jerk.
I mean...
Harry's weird, but you're a jerk.
Yes. And Ethan didn't tell Mike anything that Harry didn't tell him already. I mean, you still got to figure out who did the poisoning.
Right.
So, yeah. But of course, Harry runs up there and stands right in front of Ethan as he's talking to Mike and informs him that they should talk to the person who stole a prescription pad. And you see Asta just go, "No, Harry."
Why?
Yeah. Asta tells them that she reported it to the state board, and Mike thanks Harry for the tip. Harry tells him now that he solved the murder, he's going to go clean out his desk. So, of course, Ben comes in and thanks Harry for all he's done and gives him a cinnamon-scented candle he made.
Oh, my God. His face, too. Like, ugh.
Oh, yeah. When he smelled it.
Oh, it was funny.
And Harry just drops it in a bag and drops it into the trash can. And as he's leaving the office, he informs Ben that Max isn't sick after all. And as Ben questions whether Harry misdiagnosed his son, of course Ethan hears that and says that can't be good and offers to give a second opinion.
Yeah, well, that was going to go over like a lead balloon.
Oh, yeah, because Harry changes his tune and once again tells Ben that Max needs to go to the institution. Harry, you're digging yourself deeper and deeper. So Mike and Liv are with Aston. Mike tells her that he comes on strong and he just radiates power and he can't help it. And we get a great look from Liv. Like, really? But she's not the only one that loves Sam as he took care of Mike's dad for the past 5 years.
So do you think that's why Mike got such an attitude with Harry?
It might be, yeah.
It just seems weird, but...
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I think more of Mike's problem is Harry's just a little different and he can't handle
That's
different.
polite.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to say what Mike really thinks of him.
He just thinks he's stupid. Come on.
Yeah. So Mike tells her that if she knows anything else, now's the time to tell them as they're on the same team. And they weren't before. Not if Harry was there, I guess. Asta tells him at first that she thought Sam had taken the pad for his insulin and goes to her locker and gets out the script and tells him they should talk to the kid that goes to the high school because it was written days after Sam died. And we see Harry leaving the clinic and he is happy to have his freedom back. Then he adjusts his pants because it keeps sliding to the right.
I was dying.
Yes.
And in my notes, I'm like, how do I write? I just wrote pants issue because it's like, how exactly do you say it without saying it? I love it. This is such a bad design.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, Harry.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. It was just something I wasn't expecting.
Oh, absolutely not. You would have thought we'd have heard of that sooner.
That was a happy moment for sure. I'm kind of surprised something like that didn't happen in that show.
Right. And Asta catches him wondering if he was leaving without saying goodbye. And Harry tells her he didn't want to.
I love it. It's like he almost was going to say something nice.
Right.
But I didn't want to. It's like so close, Harry. So close to being a nice, normal guy.
Yeah. She tells him she's glad he's such a huge weirdo and his talent for unleashing chaos in his life is strong as ever. But she thinks she's better for having known him. And he tells her...
It was so sweet.
Yes, it was. Very heartfelt. And he tells her she's weird too, and Asta opens her arms. Harry, not realizing that she wants a hug, he opens her arms too, so they're both standing there with our arms open. So she gives him a hug, and right at that time, Isabella shows up, and Asta informs him that his wife is there. I love it. Harry goes, if we run, she can't catch both of us.
I thought that was hilarious.
Yes.
And you kind of feel like Asta would have been like, wait, what?
Yeah, exactly. And Asta informs Isabella that the new doctor has arrived and Harry is free. And of course, Isabella is excited, but Harry informs her that he still has stuff. But of course, she wants to help him with it. I don't think that's going to work out well.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
And so we go to the high school where Liv thanks Kate and tells her they only need to ask him a few questions.
Oh my gosh, this was so awkward.
Yes.
I have the word awkward really big in my note.
Yeah, Kate tells him he may be a bit of a stoner, but do they really think he's running a drug ring? No, they aren't telling him the truth, or her the truth. Mike tells her that everybody's innocent until proven guilty, unless they're guilty. You go, yeah, we know where you're coming from, Mike. They're guilty until you're proven innocent.
Yeah, and seriously, like, I know I'm not the only one going, what?
Yeah. Kate gives him
with you?
10 minutes as he's failing her history class. And then Mike tells Liv their approach will be good cop, bad cop, and Liv thinks they're like the dynamic duo until Mike informs her that he's going to be the good cop and the bad cop, and she's going to guard the perimeter. You jerk. Student walks.
Right. And then the way he starts acting in there.
I know.
Yeah. And you wonder why the kid won't talk to you. Because the kid thinks you're probably doped up.
Yes. You're schizophrenic.
Especially when you start talking about Tinder and Grindr and stuff. It's like, what is wrong with you? What are you showing that kid?
Exactly.
I was seriously like, oh God, no, please stop. Please.
Yeah. Student walks up to Liv, who comments on the sweater she's wearing, and the girl returns the compliment on Liv's shirt. Something Liv didn't know she needed to hear. Yeah.
I thought that was kind of sweet, though.
Absolutely. We go over to the 59 where Darcy is telling Judy that she isn't psychic, and Judy tells her that she had a dream about a cat, and the first thing she saw the next morning was a cat. Well, of course, you sleep with your cat. Judy goes, exactly.
Oh my God, the whole thing with Judy. Now, I'm sorry, but those two just crack me up together.
Oh, I know. And Harry and Isabella enter and sit at a booth, and Darcy brings over menus and says hi, not knowing that Isabella doesn't know that Darcy knows Harry. Isabella introduces her husband, and Darcy informs her that she knows him as he checked her tonsils once. Oh, burn.
Yeah, and Harry's just like, huh?
What? Okay. Isabella forgot that this is a one-doctor town, and Harry probably knows everyone. And Harry proceeds to point out everybody that knows him by their disease: cancer, barren womb, heart disease, guy who pees himself, and one nut.
One nut.
And Darcy tells him that she'll bring over a couple beers once she's done with Mrs. Chlamydia. And you hear Judy, that's Miss Chlamydia.
Yeah, I just in the background, that's Miss Chlamydia. I'm like, oh my gosh.
And Isabel tells Harry that since he's not the town doctor anymore, why don't they sell the cabin and go back to New York?
Ooh, the look on his face.
Oh, yeah. But before we get to that, we go back to the high school. And yeah, Mike goes all wackadoodle on the kid. And he's just staring at him looking like you are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And Mike joins Liv in the car, telling her the kid must work for the CIA. And then Liv informs him of this whole operation as she got the info from a couple of kids.
Oh my God, she had a lot of information.
Oh
too.
yeah, the dealer is the pharmacist, and you have to leave the money behind the third stall in the bathroom, and so nobody knows exactly who is who. And of course, Mike has to say, well, it was a great idea to have you wait outside.
I was thinking 10 steps ahead. It's like, where you know?
Yeah. And thinking it must be an inside job, they see Jay leaving, and Liv wonders why Asta didn't put her on the list of suspects. We gonna find out. So we go back to the 59, and Isabella tells Harry she thinks going back to New York would be the best for him. Harry tells her he hates it there, which she disagrees until he mentions 9/11.
Name one thing you hate.
Yeah, 9/11.
Oh, well.
Then Ethan and Asta then enter with Ben giving Ethan a history lesson. And then we start getting more and more of Ethan's ego, as he's got to mention he was on the rowing team in Australia in 2000, which of course makes Darcy mention that she skied Torino in 2006. We get the 59, and Ethan goes, well, I've done my homework. I know what that means. Of course, Harry gets up and says, no, it was 60. They all died. They were all crushed to death.
Yeah. Can you stop, Harry? Because that's not a good thing going on like that.
And Isabella gets up to take Harry home, but of course, Ethan's got to speak French to her, and they have a little conversation. And this is just too much for green-eyed Harry to take, and he decides it's time to go. Until Asta mentions getting on a horse and jousting or arm wrestling, which of course gives Harry an idea. Now, Ethan, of course, says, neither one of us are into macho, yet I always talk a good game.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
So Harry goes to the end of the bar and puts his hand out to arm wrestle. And it's fortunate that Ethan didn't get his arm ripped off, but Harry does dislocate his shoulder.
Well, I mean, come on. It started even more awkward when he starts with, I beat my wife.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And Isabella goes, in arm wrestling.
Yeah. And Judy wanted them both to take their shirts off too.
Oh,
right?
yeah. So. Shirts, no shirts. Yeah.
Right.
And Harry just doesn't understand why no one's cheering him on. Ethan asks Asta to help pop it back in, not pop her in. And she does with Darcy's help. Judy gives Ethan...
That was like painful to me, and I know it wasn't even real.
Yeah. Of course, Judy gives Ethan a clap, and Harry gives himself one.
Yeah, this is not going to go well with those two both in the same town.
No. And we go the next day at the cabin. Isabella wakes up and gets a big smile on her face as she turns to find Harry not in bed. She walks into the kitchen to find Harry has made her coffee just the way she likes it, with almond milk and
conflict-free sugar.
Yeah.
Oh no, oat milk and conflict-free sugar. I don't know what conflict-free sugar is.
No.
And oat milk doesn't sound appealing. Like, no. I'm not too keen on almond milk.
No.
But, like, it just sounds weird.
Yeah.
But I don't have allergies, so, hey, if you have allergies and that's what you got to drink, that's cool.
Yep. Harry tells her that she was right, that leaving the clinic is the best thing for them, and she asks what romantic things will they do with their free time.
I just felt like he cringed when she's like, what else can we do together?
Yes, and Harry replies they could build a fire, and then goes into graphic detail of having sex without it being romantic any way, shape, or form.
Oh my God. This was the weirdest thing. And at first she's like, oh yeah, wait, what?
Yes. And Isabella's about to tell Harry that it sounds, and she falls to the floor because of spiked coffee.
Yeah. It's probably better because who knows if she would have said that sounds amazing.
Right. Yeah.
I'd have been like, all right, that's it.
Yep.
She's some sort of weird government plant.
Yep. He drags her back to the bedroom and puts her on the bed, telling her good night, his hairless monkey. And I don't even want to know what that's referencing. And he goes to the mountain, and he's going to the mountain, and don't wake up before he gets back or ever.
Yes, drops. Yeah, I'm assuming the sleeping pills.
Right. Puts them in the drawer. Then we find Darcy waking up and telling the birds to shut up, getting the feeling she's not at home.
I was going to say, like, the second she woke up, did you feel like, oh, no, Darcy, you didn't?
Yes.
Because that's what I was like, okay. I mean, she's totally available. I'm not saying that, but I'm just
absolutely.
Like, this is probably going to bite you in the butt.
Yeah. And she rolls over only to find a picture of Ethan in Africa and says, oh, no. She dresses and heads for the door only to find Ethan has made breakfast.
Overachiever.
Yes. He tells her he had a really good time last night and should play it cool, but he thinks she's awesome. Darcy
I'm sorry, but he was like, oh my God. Oh, I made blueberry pancakes and fresh squeezed orange juice and fresh pressed coffee and something quiche, and I would have made bread, but I didn't have time.
Yeah, I know.
And the look on her face, I feel like says it all. Because I don't know. I don't think this would be normal. I just met you. Even first date behavior.
Right. No. So she takes the plate and tells him bye and leaves as a dismayed Ethan looks on.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay. It's not even like, yeah, I'll just get some juice to go. You took his actual plate. Girl, it's not even like it's a paper plate.
No.
You're like, all right, I'm going to take this and go. Thanks. Bye.
And we go to the sheriff's office where Mike puts Jay's picture on his murder board and then grabs another picture but discovers he's out of push pins. So, of course, he stomps out of his office, goes to look for Liv. Mitch, complaining the whole time. He finds her jamming to some music in a storage closet that has her murder board set up, which is way larger and much more intricate than Mike's.
Yeah, and she's got way more, like, ideas of what the heck is happening.
Right. Mike pulls
because he's just like, it's a serial killer.
Yeah.
Yes.
He pulls out one of the earbuds and asks her what she's doing. I'm just hanging out. Did you make your own murder board? No. Well, it says Sam's murder at the top.
Oh, right.
And Mike notices delivery method insulin. And Liv explains that Sam was diabetic and botulism is injectable. Liv explains that their current timeline has the murderer at Sam's office at the time of his death. But maybe if insulin is the method of delivery, all he or she would need to do would be to inject it into the insulin vial and wait for Sam to take his insulin. Sounds like
makes sense.
Liv is onto something here. And even though Liv says it's stupid, Mike finally can't say anything bad and tells her that she's done a good job. He's shocked that she's smarter than him.
I think it's finally dawning on him that, oh, maybe I shouldn't be such a jackass.
Yeah.
Because she knows stuff.
Yeah.
Now, before we jump in, because she's talking about the botulinum toxin, I wasn't sure and I had to look it up. Botox is a form of botulinum toxin.
Right.
So I was wondering, and here's my tinfoil hat theory, people, ready? If the wife was using Botox, like at home, kind of off the books, because she had Sam's prescription pad and wrote one for herself or something.
Right.
And he accidentally injected himself thinking it was insulin because he grabbed the wrong bottle.
Ooh.
So technically, it's not murder then.
Right. Absolutely. So there you go.
That's my tinfoil hat theory.
That's a nice one. So we see Darcy in a helicopter. And you go, what? And she tells the pilot that she's stuck at the 59, but they need to release that cornice buildup before the weather turns bad. And then she notices Harry on the mountain and wonders what he's doing. And Harry finds something.
And you've seen like how he was walking. It's a very square pattern he was doing.
Yes. And Harry finds something but doesn't think that the signal is quite right, but digs anyway and finds the final piece to his ship. But, of course, the helicopter lands. Oh, crap.
Yeah. Quick, into the bag.
Into the bag. He gets it in the bag before Darcy gets out, and Darcy tells him he can't be up here. Didn't he see the signs? There's crevices up here, and you can see him starting to make a face. And that's what the sign are for. When
she said the whole crevice thing, I'm like, oh, maybe that's where your ship or the piece landed.
Right.
It went into a crevice or crevasse.
Yeah, that's what the signs are for. And Harry just keeps making that strange face, and he asks her about his smile, and she tells him they have to fly him off the mountain. And we get another flashback, this time 2 weeks ago in New Mexico. David says he followed the trajectory and the ship should be right here. Now, of course, Lisa gives him some crap about it not being there and takes his pad. Looking at the map, and she gets frustrated and just tosses it. And of course, it goes.
Do you get a Mike and Liv feel with those two?
Yeah, just a little bit, just opposite. Where David's the meek one and Lisa's the aggressive one. Yes, absolutely. And so David runs to the RV, and Lisa has no clue what he's doing. Well, he's smart. He grabs the fire extinguisher and shoots it at the ship to know where it's at. And so she calls the general and tells her that she found it.
Oh my God, I can't stand this woman already.
No. This isn't going to be good for Harry. And then we get bowling league with the girls. And we see Liv kiss a bowling ball before rolling a strike as Darcy and Asta's sister Kayla celebrate. Asta joins.
I wanted her to be up against Mike so bad there.
I know. I bet she could beat him. Asta joins them and apologizes for being late, and Kayla tells her not to look, but Jimmy's over there with the Russian mail-order bride. Asta says she could care less, and then we have to have a little talk. Liv and Asta sit down, and Liv has to ask her something, but she has to be honest with her. And she wants to know why she left Jay's name off the list, and Asta says she's sorry, but she knows Jay's a good kid, and Liv tells her it don't look good if you're protecting her.
Well, I get it, because Asta doesn't want to tell her either why she left her name off the list. I mean, not just she's a good kid, but I think it's going to end up coming out.
Right.
And I don't know how that's going to end up.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure if Liv finds out, she's not going to tell anybody. But if Mike finds out, Mike's got a loud mouth that'll just like blurt it out at the wrong time.
Yes.
Like you thought it was bad with Harry. I feel like Mike would be worse.
Right. Well, Liv informs her that they're going to have to bring her in for questioning, which startles Astra. But Liv tells her she's not saying she did it, but there weren't that many people with access to Sam's office, and whoever stole those pads are someone you know. Oh, are they really? Yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, probably. Now, of course, Billy makes enough noise to interrupt their conversation as he's dancing with his new girlfriend, but of course looks over to make sure they noticed.
Oh, yeah. And when Asta has to talk to him, oh, you seen that? Really?
Right.
Everybody's seen it. That's your point, isn't it? You think you're going to make her jealous and she'll come back?
Yeah, but Asta questions him about playing cards with Sam at the office when she was working late and asks if he took the pad.
I wasn't even thinking him.
No.
But I wouldn't be too surprised.
Oh, hell no. He denies it, but she knows better. And as Becky joins them, Billy wants to leave, but Asta stops her and warns her about Billy, and the girls chime in too. But unfortunately, Kayla wasn't recording. Hey, come back. We want to get this on.
But that girl does look like, oh, wait, this, what?
Yeah. So we go see Harry in the basement as he puts the final piece on his anti-gravitational unit, which we will put on his ship tonight. Then all he needs to complete his mission is his device.
I wish that cars fix themselves like that.
Right.
You just put the piece there and it's like, just back together. I'm like, I would be able to fix things then myself.
Programmable matter.
That was great.
Yeah, he thinks everyone will know he is better than Ethan, but then realizes everyone will be dead, so how will they know? He has to work on that one. Isabella calls to him and asks what's he doing out there, and all Harry can say is coffee. Isabella can't remember the last time she slept the whole day away, and Harry tells her she looks bad and that it must be Colorado fever as he drugs her coffee again.
Oh, I've never heard of Colorado fever.
That's one of the symptoms. She tells him that she didn't know what to expect when she came up here, but she never could have guessed that he'd be as changed as he is, like a different person now, and decides she needs to lay down while she sips on her coffee. Harry hears her hit the floor in the bedroom and gets in his truck.
Yeah, I thought that was funny when you hear thong.
We go to a hangar in New Mexico where the general meets the operatives in the hangar and asks where the ship is. Of course, David tells him it's right there, then turns on the ultraviolet light.
Oh, because she got mouthy real fast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she wasn't ready for games.
And I'm going to tell you, Linda Hamilton as the kind of bad guy here.
Yes.
I liked it.
Yes.
I did. I liked her.
General walks around the ship and stops and pulls out the Polaroid of the ship she saw with her father. And you can tell she's finally resolved that childhood quandary she had.
But she's so, yeah. I don't know. I feel like, okay, you've gotten this and you know very well that you're not going to be able to keep that kind of thing quiet. So it's going to all be taken away from you. And then what? You're going to have a fit.
Yeah, that's but at least she know that it was true.
It's
and I think that's the big thing with her is she knows that it's true. And because, if the upper government would have gotten there and gotten the ship, they'd have never known.
Yeah, true.
She's a general and she would have been left out of the loop. And she tells them to secure the landing site as the alien will have to return. And sure enough, Harry pulls up to the site, gets out of his truck, and the ship isn't there. And of course, we hear Lisa wanting to know who is this guy and gives the order to bring him in. But if he gives him any trouble, kill him.
Yeah, again, I do not like this girl.
No. And we see a car pull up and just get right on top of Harry. They stop inches. And I really thought he was just going to bend down, grab that car and toss it.
And I was like, okay, who's in the car? Because the way the car pulled up really fast.
Right.
I feel like this could kind of save him. So they don't think he's an alien. They'll think it's a drug deal or something.
Yeah, good. But because you had all the military in the woods with their guns pointed at him. So, I kind of figured it was probably some more black ops, but who knows?
But whose car is that? I didn't recognize it.
No, not at all.
So maybe it's Dr. Ethan.
That would be something else.
He's following him and he's I don't know, jealous, or he knew Harry before. There's something I feel like something is definitely going on, and whoever's in the car is not going to be the Air Force people.
Oh, crap. I'm glad you said that. I think that might have been Asta's car.
Really?
Yeah.
She's following him thinking something's up.
Yeah.
And they start fighting or something. But basically, I think it'll save him.
Right.
So,
yep. I kind of like that.
Yeah. So this should be interesting how that comes about.
Oh, yeah.
I guess we'll see. We kind of went long on this one because it was oh my God, there was so much happening.
Yes, there was. I kept trying to cut and cut and cut. No, I can't cut that out. That's important.
I know. It was so good. And it's very hard to not talk about every little piece with this.
Right.
Because I feel like this is turning into a big puzzle where little pieces are falling into place. And it's but who is this? Who could this be? And like I said, this car, it's the last moment.
Right.
But I totally think this is a big deal.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, sure will. I can't wait for next week.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Steve, did we get any feedback to talk about all the craziness that's happening?
Oh, yes, we did. This is going to be a double jazz feedback episode, as we also got feedback for episode 6. So let's hear what Jazz thought of the episode.
Hello, this is Jazz with a review of Season 1, Episode 6 of Resident Alien. First off, let me say that I loved the fact that Liv got all the information needed at the high school just from chatting up all the students and finding out how it was done and, exactly the particulars you needed. And that's pretty impressive considering she's a cop. And you don't always want to tell people who are cops about your illegal doings. Maybe it was just hypothetically, this is how it's done. So then they don't get sent up the river for being a rat or participating in illegal activities. So that way she could get the info. And once again, the sheriff was like, yeah, sure, that's it. It was a good thing I left you to do nothing because, see, now you got all the info. But I love the fact that he kept getting the phrases wrong in terms of tender and grinder, and those phrases were correct, but I'm pretty sure he didn't want to know those sites. So it was kind of weird he was using the teenager for tech support. Tell me more more about this. How come this doesn't work? And, of course, he couldn't crack the kid, and Liv does the awesome job of getting all the info anyways. And, that's just very cool. Props to her. And later on in the episode, I'm going to jump around like Sean does sometimes, which I fully support. Later on in the episode, the sheriff finds out she has her own murder board, and instead of telling her that she's stupid or horrible like she mentions already, he's like, no, actually, this is really good. Good job, Deputy. I think that's the only time I've heard him say something nice. And, she did a little happy dance. You could almost hear the Snoopy music in the background, because that's what I think of, personally. If you hear a kitty in the background, that's Squeaker saying hi. And anyways, good job, Liv is just awesome, and she was very happy, and progress is being made. So that's awesome. I love it. And I thought it was also very clever for the injection of the insulin, which is something the doctor would definitely need, being a diabetic, to be put in there. He's not going to check it. He's going to think everything's perfectly fine because it's in his office. So, maybe they took a syringe and put it into the insulin bottle, because if it's clear, that would kind of be hard to notice. And you probably aren't inspecting all of them since you were used to doing with those. You're sort of complacent because it's in your office. And then it was a ticking time bomb, like Liv said. So that's a masterful stroke of knocking somebody off. I don't think I have heard that on any other show, sci-fi or otherwise, as a motive for murder. So, and probably very hard to trace, unless you kept the bottle, which I can't imagine they did. So very, very good props to all the writers. I thought it was cool that Harry is now over his fondness for his wife and the other humans that he felt a fondness for in town, since he is still continuing with the process to build his weapon and, nuke everybody, essentially. So it's like, okay, you were making such progress, and you slide back. But he still has human tendencies, since he's incredibly jealous of the new doctor. So much so that he doesn't break his arm. He dislocates the shoulder, which just is painful to even look at, even if it is fake. So there's a little bit of machismo pride in there, which I don't know if he would have that if he was in his alien form. Something to consider. I thought it was also very smart that he probably now takes sleeping pills to help him get his recommended 9 hours of sleep. And he's put a Mickey in his wife's drink, which made her go to sleep. That's a reference to doctoring a drink. So anyways, that's how he could go to the mountain. I thought that was well done. I thought the title of the episode should have been Where Babies Come From, literally. Because he have a small warning going, if you didn't want your kids to know, don't watch this episode, or surprise! So, or, hey, I didn't want to tell you, so just watch this episode of Resident Alien. That'd be different. Here are the birds and the bees talk. Watch this 5-minute snippet. That would definitely be interesting. I'm sure some parents would be like, please, let me use this. Because you never want to chat about that with your kids because it's uncomfortable. But it's a necessary evil for kids, cousins, anybody who's of the age. So, anyways, I thought it was awesome. It was very cool that the gals were actually in their own bowling league and that their hi-fi chant was destroy, which I just thought was perfect. And not what you would think. They're all dressed in pink and matching outfits. So, probably all have the specific bowling shoes, and everybody probably has their own bowling ball. So I am not in a league, nor do I join one, but I do have a friend who does, and that's all the stuff she had. Lots of money in that. Anyways, I spend mine on scuba diving. So it makes sense that the general was actually the little girl that we see in the beginning of the episode, because she still has that Polaroid, and tying it all together, I thought that was very awesome. So, kept the Polaroid, definitely an 80s feel to it. I don't know if they have an Area 51 type device that would be able to see through Harry's conversion into a human and be able to see that there's alien DNA mixed in. Or maybe it's just really good camouflage, or he literally physically changes and it's no camouflage at all. So, but something to consider. And if the doctor is so awesome and has done all these things, why is he in a podunk little town? So is it like Northern Exposure where he's paying off his medical bills? But if that were the case, then they would need Harry, and he looks too old to be a resident intern, so it couldn't be waiting until his school was up. So I'm sure that'll be a wrinkle. It might be that he was sent there by the general in the first place, or, any number of reasons. As always, enjoying the show. Has lots of twists and turns you don't expect, but that's part of the fun. I love the fact that it also has humor to it, and the fact that, they found the ship by throwing an iPad. that was good. Would have bit a snake, I would have bit you. But anyways, enjoyed the podcast also. Hope you all well. And once again, this is Jazz. Thanks.
Yeah, Jazz, it was really great to see Liv get at least a little bit of
Credit.
Yes, exactly.
Now, I 100% agree, except Jazz, I'm going to have to disagree because I 100% think that this is a one-off.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because I don't think anything's going to come of it.
Yeah, I doubt very seriously this is going to have a major effect on how Mike treats Liv, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it just took him by such surprise. And the fact that she had come up with the possible murder route that he didn't know what to say. It's not like, oh, that's stupid, but it was like, oh, I hadn't thought of that.
Right.
So I think it took him by such surprise that he had to give her credit.
Yep.
It's like, oh, that's great. Now, will that credit go forward? No, I 100% think he's going to revert back to his normal douchey self.
Oh, absolutely. But it just proves that she is so much smarter than he is.
Yes. I love Liv. I was actually watching the episode and I messaged Steve. I'm like, oh my God, Liv is awesome. So,
yes.
And the whole bowling thing with them, I think is hilarious. But I mean, that's something altogether different. Like her attitude, she doesn't have an attitude, I should say. It's like the way she kind of flows in and out just seems more natural.
Right.
Like she's a deputy and she's talking to the kids and she's bowling, like talking to her friends. Like that just seems like a natural way people would act.
Right. It makes
again,
people
that sounds
feel
weird saying it this way.
Talking to her.
Yeah.
And, we mentioned,
whereas Mike,
Darcy mentioned that earlier in the season was that, people can talk to her.
Yeah. And Mike is like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I did actually tweet that and he replied. I'm like, I think you're borderline crazy, you super weirdo, or something like that is how I tweeted. And he's like, what do you mean borderline? And he posted the picture of him pulling the kids over because they didn't use hand signals on their bike.
Right.
So I thought that was hilarious. I'm like, oh, he even knows that his character is totally cuckoo. So
oh yeah, he plays it.
I thought that was funny. We actually had a lot of the cast retweet us or answer us, by the way, this episode, in case you didn't notice.
Yeah, Liv
liked
a couple of my tweets as well. So
yeah, Corey answered, LV answered because I'd said, oh my God, I can't deal with morning people.
Right.
Like I am not a morning person. And she happened to reply, there's a lot of different types of humans. And that was weird to me personally. And I know I'm off topic. Sorry, Jazz. Follow the squirrel. That LV specifically said there's various types of humans. I'm like, oh, is she trying to tell us something?
Right.
So yeah, sorry. Tinfoil hat came out quick when I seen that tweet. I was like, what does this mean?
Right.
So
and I could really see a parent using Harry's description of what he's going to do to Isabel as the talk.
But 100%, Jazz, I hope that parents aren't letting their kids watch this because of some of the stuff. I mean, not just the random language, because I mean, it's later, whatever. Right. I mean, I think most kids have heard the language, but
sure.
Yeah, random stuff like that, the fold outs,
yeah,
him trying to get her bra off and the role play.
Yeah.
No, let's not do that.
Right.
So I really hope people aren't letting their little kids watch this.
Yeah, you're not little kids.
Although,
teenagers,
you know what?
Okay, but
I told you before, I snuck out of my room and hid next to the couch when my dad was watching Creep Show.
Right.
So you never know what the kids are doing.
Oh yeah.
I crawled down the hall so I could go watch Creep Show.
You weren't the only one.
9. I was 9.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Sneak in and watch whatever the parents were watching. Yep.
So
been there, done that.
The kids are sneaking in and watching this, and then the next day they're going to bust themselves out because, Mom, I have a question.
Exactly.
What does it mean when they put a pill in somebody's drink? Wait, what? And yeah, Mickey, that's great because I know. I haven't heard that in a while.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Thanks for explaining that. So we don't have to. I'm just thinking, man, those are super sleeping pills.
Yes, absolutely.
Because, man, she went down fast.
Yeah. Well, Jazz, we're glad you're enjoying the show as we are and looking forward to hearing what you think about the next episode.
Thanks, Jazz. Well, you know how we feel. We want to know how you feel. So shoot us your thoughts at contact us or sci-fi talk, either way, at fangirlzone.com. And we will listen to it or read it and answer on air because this is so good. And while you're at it, if you can rate and review us on iTunes and every other platform you find us on, which, by the way, I'm finding us on more and more platforms.
Yep.
As I'm searching through my pod player to play in the car. So find us in the future.
Yes, and I know some of our listeners to this show have went and listened to some of our episodes of Happy. So,
oh my gosh.
Yes, I hope
sorry.
you can find it online and enjoy it as much as we did.
Oh, if you haven't watched Happy, go watch it. It's something else.
Yes.
So weird. Anyway, good ratings and reviews. Help other fans of the show find us. Tell your friends about this show because it's so good. And I'm thinking that was a lot of word of mouth that got us up to the 10th slot for episode 5. I think we can get to number 1.
Yes.
So let's do it. And we hope you're enjoying our podcast. And please tweet along with us on Wednesdays at #ResidentAlien.
Yep.
And, of course, you can find all of our contact information over at www.fangirlzone.com on our contacts page. But we are everywhere. We're like Borg. We're on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and Tumblr on occasion. And like I said, pretty much every single podcatcher out there has us. And it's really interesting finding us. So for this episode of Sci-Fi Talk, I am Sean Fangirl.
And I'm Steve. You know it. I know it. The Navy just admitted it. But if the crash evidence goes up the chain of command, it will be swallowed up in a classified black hole.
And until next time.